The president yesterday said that the deal with Iran could happen in the next couple of weeks. The Iranian foreign minister today on X said that media are speculating about an imminent agreement, but he's not sure we are there yet. Any reaction to what he said?
Well, people are speculating because maybe somebody goes on radio and starts to speculate and starts to talk and starts to gossip. We don't do that. We've learned that discussing the details of something as sensitive as peace negotiations or a ceasefire does not help. It might be more interesting radio, but that's not how we're operating. It's not how serious agreements benefit. So I'm not going to comment on that. What I do know is that every report after our meetings is that it's that they've gone well and that progress has been made. Iran is at the table, and progress has been made based on the lines of President Trump, what his lines are, that there will never be a nuclear weapon, that there will not be enrichment. And we make progress every single meeting.
Thank you, Caroline. Question on tariffs, but first actually some foreign policy news, some breaking news. Some local Israeli media is reporting that Prime Minister Netanyahu told hostage families that he's accepted a 60-day truce offer. So can you confirm, have Israel and Hamas agreed to a truce?
I can confirm that Special Envoy Witkoff and the President submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel backed and supported. Israel signed off on this proposal before it was sent to Hamas. I can also confirm that those discussions are continuing, and we hope that a ceasefire in Gaza will take place so we can return all of the hostages home, and that's been a priority from this administration from the beginning. I won't comment further as we are in the midst of this right now.
So to be clear, you don't know if Hamas has accepted it yet?
Not to my knowledge, but certainly if that becomes the case and this ceasefire goes into effect, you'll hear it directly from myself, the President, or Special Envoy Witkoff.
I'll ask you about the reported acceptance by Israel of a ceasefire for Gaza. What you can fill in about that? Does it include expanding food deliveries? Does it include the south as well as the north? And do you know whether Hamas has signed on to this? And is Qatar or Oman?
Well, we know there's been a proposal put forward that seems to be promising. We are unaware of Hamas accepting it, but we do believe that it has some significant promise. We would, of course, as you might imagine, it's been a goal of the administration to get all the hostages out, certainly the bodies that are being held. And so, and I believe that Caroline addressed this too, I think, earlier. Yes, so there is some optimism, some important optimism, but the aspect regarding Hamas and its position is unknown at this point. But I think that there's some optimism regarding what has been proposed.
And do you know if this came from Mr. Witkoff and Germer and the other envoys who were here from Israel this week?
Well, I believe that certainly Special Envoy Witkoff, as he's been involved in most issues and our successes, but at this point, we're still waiting to get some kind of a final point put on that, which would allow even more humanitarian aid to move in, and certainly the return of hostages and bodies. This is what we continue, always are working on, and we're excited that this might be a good development. All right, Nadia.
Thank you. I'm following up on Gaza again. Caroline just said now, actually, that both the Israelis and agreed to it, and they're waiting for.
Yes, that's correct. So this is when we say this in optimism, it means Israel's agreed. All right, so we're in a very good position, I think.
But as you know, the president said he wants to see an end to this war. Is this any U.S. guarantee that actually they're going to discuss the end of the war after the 60-day ceasefire? Because every time they reach that stop and the ceasefire collapse is because...
Well, the ceasefires don't collapse. Ceasefires are ignored by Hamas, and they're broken by Hamas. They don't just collapse under their weight. Every moment, though, even without a ceasefire and without agreements like this, there's the constant effort to get this heinous situation to end, and not just for the moment, not for the 60 days or 6 months. That is the hallmark of President Trump's vision and what the secretaries worked for, what our special envoys have worked for. Special Envoy Witkoff could be, just like President Trump, enjoying a very comfortable life somewhere else. But these are men and women who've made this kind of commitment. So I would say that obviously the end goal is an end. But ending the murders, the slaughter, the carnage, and getting people what they need is key. And that, of course, you can't. It's different, and I think Zelensky had noted this as well, right? I mean, you can't talk about peace as you're being shot at and killed. I mean, it's one thing has to be able to lead to the other. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.
Obviously, the secretary connected with his counterpart in Russia yesterday. In their call, did Mr. Lavrov give Secretary Rubio any indication of whether and when this peace memorandum that Russia promised would materialize? President Zelensky is saying nobody has seen it. And Secretary Rubio has said it's an important indicator of how serious Russia is about continuing negotiations. So I'm wondering if you have an update.
Yes, again, we've said multiple times that we're going to judge Russia based not on what they say, but on what they do. And right now what's happening is not good, right? You've heard that from the president. What I can tell you is Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in fact, did speak with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. Secretary Rubio welcomed, as we all did, the exchange of 1,000 for 1,000 prisoners, which happened over the weekend. That was arranged, I believe, while we were in Istanbul, Turkey. The secretary reiterated President Trump's calls for constructive, good faith dialogue with Ukraine as the only path forward ending the war. So that's what we're saying about the call itself, and we'll have to kind of leave that there.
On the question of the good faith dialogue,
Sure.
does the secretary believe that what the Russians have offered in terms of these direct talks with the Ukrainians in Istanbul, is that being offered in good faith? We understand it's the same delegation that was dispatched last time. Is this actually going to move the ball forward, or is it a rehash?
Right. Well, that's kind of, I think, at the heart of the current diplomatic dialogues and negotiations. And I won't characterize the secretary's point of view or his approach. I think what he reiterated after this call, I think, speaks for itself, that he reiterated President Trump's calls for constructive, good faith dialogue as the only way to end the war. So that was repeated in that call, and I think that speaks to the secretary's position. All right, yes, sir, go ahead.
Can I just follow up on that? Can this good faith dialogue continue alongside military offensive?
You've got to repeat that first part. This what?
Can this good faith dialogue can this continue alongside military offensive?
Well, obviously, we're going to find that out. Again, we're judging, and I think the president has judged Putin based on the nature of what was clearly extremely frustrating to him regarding the killing of civilians while talks are going on for a ceasefire. And it is that's a judgment that's going to come from the leaders of this country, the leaders, frankly, of the free world, of whether or not that's possible. And we're going to have to take that moment by moment in this case, I think.
And are you guys involved into the second part of Istanbul talks? Are you part of it?
I'm not going to go into that. I have nothing to preview for you on that.